Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review. And this time, reviewing another comedy film, which I remember I saw quite a few times back when. Well, I didn't grow up watching the film a whole bunch of times. I didn't do that though, but I remember seeing it quite a few times back then, and I still like the film. Um, I still got chuckles out of it. And it's another film that's directed by Chris Columbus, and that is of 9 Months. Came out in 1995. Stars Hugh Grant. And like I said, directed by Chris Columbus. Like I said before, Chris Columbus, directed Home Alone 1 and 2, The Adventures of Babysitting, the first two Harry Potter movies, Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. Then later in 2015, Pixels. Like I said before, I didn't like that. Only the Lonely with John Candy, which I reviewed a while back, some years ago. But 9 Months. Oh no, I also forgot Mrs. Doubtfire as well. Can't forget Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah, but 9 Months. It came out in the summer of 1995. It did fairly well box office wise, but despite coming out in a packed summer 1995, because during that summer he had Batman Forever, Apollo 13, Pocahontas, even other ones like even Under Siege 2, Dark Territory. But this film did, as I said, box office wise did well, but it wasn't not too. It was not. Critics were really big fan. Were mixed on this film. They were mixed. But despite that, have a very solid cast in this film. Like I said, it stars Hugh Grant, which star of Notting Hill, Four Weddings and a Funeral. Then what was it? Bridget Jones' Diary, in the sequels. Which I never minded Hugh Grant really enough. I didn't think he was never a bad actor. I think looking when he looked back on this on this movie, I think he says he apologizes for his role in this movie. I don't know why he needs to apologize for. I thought he did fine in this movie for this kind of comedy. I thought he did fine in this movie. I thought at times he was pretty funny in this movie. So to me personally, I don't think Hugh Grant doesn't need to apologize for this film. And as for among the cast, you have Julianne Moore plays his wife, and you have Tom Arnold, from True Lies, and it's among other films. Joan Cusack, which she is, of course, she's the sister of actor John Cusack. Of course, she's been in other movies. Of course, known for voicing from the Toy Story movies. Oh god, I forgot the toy's name now. I'm drawing a total blank now. But you know the character I'm talking about from Toy Story that Joan Cusack plays. The cowgirl with the horse Bullseye. What was it, Jessie? Yeah, I think it was Jessie. Yeah, it was Jessie. But yeah, it's Joan Cusack plays Tom Arnold's wife, and you got Jeff Goldblum in here, and then of course you got the late great Robin Williams in here. And I said before a lot of times about Robin Williams, I miss him dearly. Talented comedian, a comedic genius, so many levels. Miss him dearly, as many other people have missed Robin Williams. It's a great shame. But even he's not in the film that much. He's only for about a little bit in the beginning, and then towards the end of the movie, and that's it, though. So that's one thing. I wish he was in more, though, because he was definitely hilarious in this movie. Because whenever my mom watches this film, she always cracks up when Robin Williams was in this. Yeah, I miss Robin Williams. And the score by Hans Zimmer did not mind. Which I've said a lot of things about the films about that, what the scores that Hans Zimmer has done. Of course, Broken Arrow, The Lion King, of course, the Dark Knight trilogy, and of course, among many others as well. But yeah, so overall, solid cast, and the direction by Chris Columbus, which he also helped do this. He also did the screenplay for this. But pardon me. But I always never hated this movie. I always thought it was a fun comedy. Now, for this film, in this film, Hugh Grant, he's a guy who's one finds out he has He's when he finds out his girlfriend until they get married, Julianne Moore, that she's pregnant, right? And ever since she was pregnant, that he's been going on under stress. He doesn't know what to do. He's always been a nervous wreck. And Julianne Moore, though, one thing I have to say is Julianne Moore, that she wants him to get rid of all those things that he has and to be with her, and or which by the end but for a time she left him, though. I mean, the one time you really maybe care about Julianne Moore because one thing he wants to sell his car or his house and then get rid of his cat they have for years. And then he's supposed to go along with what she says. That kind of makes Julianne Moore a little bit but pretty much unlikable, because if it shouldn't. That is a flaw. That is a flaw I have, because if you've already been married together and all that stuff, you tell it to alter what he wants and to be with you and all that. Especially get rid of your cat. It's like if I get married and I have a dog, and she doesn't want it, I'm supposed to go along with it. I was like, no, I'm not gonna get rid of my dog for that. But it's that way, and he doesn't want to get wants to get on with her, you know what I mean? But Julianne Moore's like, oh, will it hurt the baby and all that, and that frustrates Hugh Grant and all that, but at the point where it's a temporal where she left him, I was like, this makes Julianne Moore kind of a bit of very unlikable, so. But yeah. I mean, I like Julianne Moore as an actress. I have enjoyed her a lot of movies. The Lost World, Jurassic Park, and when she replaced Jodie Foster as Clarice in Hannibal. Julianne Moore I enjoy as an actress, but I don't think it wasn't her fault in this. It was the writing by Chris Columbus who did this. So. That is a fault with the screenplay on that, so it's not Julianne Moore's fault. It's the screenplay that wrote her character like that. But and Jeff Goldblum, he is a friend of Hugh Grant, and you tell me when he's frustrated, especially when they're playing tennis, and which, by the way, this is rated PG-13, so they got away with a PG-13 rating, because there were quite a few F-bombs in this. Twice when they're playing tennis and Hugh Grant is being frustrated when he lost, and he screams the F-bomb 2 times, and then a first one before that was with Robin Williams. So yeah, for 3 times, for a PG-13 rating, they got away with that to avoid an R rating. Usually it's supposed to be 1 F-bomb, though, but yeah, for a PG-13 film, they got away with it 3 times with the F-bomb. But yeah, because twice, because he was playing tennis, he's like, fuck! And he's throwing his tennis racket around and like that. Or the first time with Robin Williams, which Robin Williams, he was fun for the role he has, which I like to see him more in this. But he's a Russian doctor. He plays as a Russian doctor, which he said he was a scientist that did with ants, rats, and monkeys, and and this is his first time, being a doctor dealing with babies, and like a funny moment where he has his computer to calculate the day when the baby's due, right? And which he got confused with a baboon, and like Hugh Grant, Julianne Moore, they're getting angry, and Robin Williams getting frustrated. It's like, oh, put the Afghanistan, which with this Russian accent he has. It's like, oh, fuck me. It's where Robin Williams delivered it with a Russian accent. It was pretty funny. And then he had to do. He wanted to do the physical checkup, and with this little flipping table, and him, Hugh Grant, and Julianne Moore, they just bowled out of there. But Robin Williams, may he rest in peace. He was funny in this for the small role he had. Well, that scene there, and then you don't see him until the end of the movie. It was a fun role that he had. Of course, him working with Chris Columbus once again, since from Mrs. Doubtfire. So, but it was fun when Graham was like, "Oh, fuck me," But that was the first F-bomb, as I mentioned. Then the other two times from Hugh Grant, though, so got away with that for a PG-13 rating. And Robin Williams, and then there's this other funny thing, which I always thought was still funny to this day, when they're at this toy store, and of course you got this guy in a dinosaur suit that's of course a spoof of Barney. This time it's green. This time this dinosaur is green and orange, and his name is Arnie, right? And like Tom Arnold, he's shopping because he thought this because he has 3 girls already, so he thinks the next baby's gonna be a boy. So he's buying all these boy toy stuff, and the Arnie dinosaur wants him to have a couple of the toys, and Tom Arnold says no. And then as they're walking away, the Arnie dinosaur goes, you cheap shit. And also, what made it funny is that the mask had like raising eyebrows, for the emotion when the dinosaur had when it's angry, it gets the eyebrow movement moves and making like a mad face, right? So yeah, I thought that was part that made like a joke funny, or when they're gonna go after, then the eyebrows raise up and goes, uh-oh, like that, uh-oh, yeah. when it's like, so he calls him cheap shit, and then when it goes, you penis head, and like, oh, I heard that. Heard what? There's children around here, And it's like, so okay, oh, so long, and it goes, yeah, fat ass pussy. And then they start beating up the dinosaur, starts beating on Hugh Grant and goes, here's one for the queen. And Hugh Grant's like, all right, you bastard. And then all the kids are watching, and the Julianne Moore and Joan Cusack is like, oh wait, what are you doing? So that was always, ever since I saw it back then when I was little, that always been like a funny scene for me. So I always thought that scene was funny. But yeah. And then, like I said, with Julianne Moore being unlikable, when she temporarily leaves him, So, and then Hugh Grant's talking with Jeff Goldblum, and how tells about what it was like, because he thinks he's a painter, which he paints a good painting of Alcatraz, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh look, it's terrible, and he goes and throws it in the water. It's like, here, bon voyage, sleep with the fishes. So then then they start going and do stuff together, like getting ear piercings, and Hugh Grant meets this one woman, right, and which later on at the restaurant where he takes Julianne Moore at dinner. But then eventually they both get back together, and they're on the night, where they're going to dinner, and they run into this one woman that Hugh Grant was sort of seeing, but not really seeing, like her water breaks, and the girl cut her glass on a finger. Julianne Moore's water breaks, and now they have to go rush to the hospital. And as they're driving, they almost hit this old couple, and then the old guy almost suffers a heart attack, and Hugh Grant's like, "Oh, we're on the way to the hospital. Come right with us." And they're driving down a hill, and then all of a sudden they hit this biker guy this guy on a bike, and he like breaks his leg, and then so they try to put him in the car, and then the old woman's like, "Are you trying to kill everyone in San Francisco?" And then when they started putting the old guy in the car, and as the biker in the car, and then the old was like, "Shut up, or I'll break the other leg." And then as soon as they arrive at the hospital, then Hugh Grant's like telling these paramedics like, "Oh, you! Hey, look, we have a broken leg, a heart attack, woman in labor, and then stitches." And it's like, "Oh wow." So then the hospital is very busy, and then and and then it's like, "Oh, where's they're trying to visit the doctor they're supposed to go to," and then all of a sudden Robin Williams shows up like, "Here I am," and they both because they don't want him. And it's like, there's nobody else! Right, it's a full moon, you know? And he ends up hits the wall, and he's like, "Oh, I apologize, this is my first delivery," and they're both like, "Uh-oh." So they end up both sharing a room with Tom Arnold and Joan Cusack. They're also into labor. And Tom Arnold's filming this whole thing, and Robin Williams, like, he's just very fun to watch, and like, he's talking with Hugh Grant, and he's like, "Shut up, you limey bitch!" And he's just asking that Hugh Grant wants to give Julianne Moore something to ease the pain, right? And Ron Williams is like messing up the wrong word he's trying to say. Julianne Moore's like, "Epidural, asshole." And he's like, "Yes, that's what it was. I'm sorry, I get those like confused, right?" And then one of the nurses says, "You need a thesaurus. You need a thesaurus. That's what you need." And then when the guy comes in with the needle, Hugh Grant, he faints, right? And this is one thing my like I said, my mom, she loves Robin Williams, right? And she always cracks up at this when Robin Williams, when he sees the needle, he goes like, "Ha-pa!" And then he faints. This is stuff like this is comedic stuff that we all miss Robin Williams, you know? We all miss Robin Williams. We did these fun comedic stuff, right? When we do the ha-pa, that when he faints, Mom just laughs so hysterically at that. And it's like I wish Robin Williams was in this film more though, but when we say this up, it makes it fun, you know. So then, Tom Arnold, it's like keeps on filming. Hugh Grant breaks it. They both get into a fight. While Robin Williams just keep on going back and forth. It's like, "Okay, breathing," and then you're doing fine, you know. And then Joan Cusack, she gives birth first, and it's a girl, and Tom's like, "No, it's not. I already got 3 girls." And then Julianne Moore has a boy, and then afterwards, Robin Williams, you know, tells Hugh Grant, like, "First, I had to circumcise your son," and they're like, "What, doctor?" And then everything's happily ever after. So, yeah, 9 months. I always thought it was a pretty funny movie, right? Yeah, but more I look at it, Julianne Moore, with how her character was, well, like I say, it's not her fault, it's just how the screenplay wrote her, so, I mean, tell her, like, to get rid of all those things, you know, to be with her, I mean, who would want to do that, you know, like, especially get rid of your cat and all that, no. But, you know, is, you know, having your way or no way, basically. But overall, but it was like I said, it wasn't her fault. But she's acting the best she can. So, because I like Julianne Moore. The rest of the cast, like Hugh Grant, I liked, and I never minded Hugh Grant as an actor. I think he was never not that bad of an actor. I like Notting Hill, Four Weddings and a Funeral, and he doesn't need to apologize for this role. I mean, it's a very comedic role. A very comedic role, and so he should not need to apologize for this. So, yeah, Hugh Grant, you know, you don't need to apologize. You did fine in this role. Like I said, Tom Arnold, Joan Cusack were pretty decent. Jeff Goldblum I liked, but afterwards, like he just disappeared after like when him and Hugh Grant were like getting ear piercings, and etc. He just disappeared after that. But I like Jeff Goldblum, so he did good. And Robin Williams, rest in peace. He was fun. He was fun as this Russian doctor. He was very fun in this role. It's like, "Oh, fuck me," you know, and or when he faces the needles, like, "Pa." Yeah, he was very very fun in this role. But yeah, 9 months. Like, the directed by Chris Columbus was it was fine. But like I said, the screenplay by Chris Columbus, like the thing with Julianne Moore's character, I think could have been wrote a bit differently instead of making her unlikable though. But still, the score by Hans Zimmer was fine. The film was about how long is this movie? I probably was a little over without end credits, most like about just a few minutes over an hour and a half. So yeah, it was not bad pacing wise, but yeah, the funny stuff, like I said, Robin Williams, wherever he was in, he was fun. It was fun. I forgot to mention this one scene. I did forget to mention this one scene, which was, granted, it was weird, but and creepy, but they mentioned how praying mantises, they eat the females, they eat their male mates, right? Yeah, how can I forget the scene, because there is granted, it's messed up and creepy, which it gave me the creeps just how it was. After really hearing about that, right, Hugh Grant has a weird, messed up dream where he's in bed with Julianne Moore, and also when he turns, Julianne Moore is this praying mantis, buggy-eyed praying mantis. Granted, it's practical, not CGI, which I'm surprised they did. Which, hey, pretty good practical mantis that was in bed with Hugh Grant. But at the same time, it was very creepy as well, especially the eyes. He was like very buggy-eyed praying mantis. Yeah, I forgot to mention that scene because, yeah, probably was that creepy. I almost forgot about it. Yeah. Good practical effects on the mantis, but at the same time it was a very creepy, messed up scene. Yeah, because they talk about how female praying mantises eat their male mates, and all of a sudden he's in bed with Julianne Moore, and then he turns back, and all of a sudden there's this big bug-eyed giant praying mantis in bed with him, about to attack him, devour him. Yeah, so yeah, I forgot to mention that scene. Yeah, but. Yeah, it was funny. It was funny in a way, but so creepy at the same time. Creepy, just how the praying mantis looked, especially the big buggy eyes it had. I know praying mantis has those big eyes, but still, just how the way it looked. It was funny, but at the same time it was creepy, and yet it gave me the creeps. How the way the mantis looked at him. Yeah, so I forgot to mention that scene, so a good thing I reminded me, otherwise I would have ended this review without mentioning it. Otherwise, if anyone who's seen this film, I would say, oh, how come you didn't mention that scene? Well, there you have it. Yeah. But yeah, 9 months, I never hated this movie. I thought it was pretty a funny comedy. Now, of course, I put Home Alone 1 and 2 above this, and Mrs. Doubtfire. I think I put Mrs. Doubtfire above this as well, for comedies. Adventures of Babysitting I put above this as well, though, but as for comedies. But yeah, the cast was good. The direction, the score, pacing, and the comedy. It's like Robin Williams, the fight with the Arnie dinosaur, and the creepy mantis. Well, practical, but at the same time, very creepy. Then of course the Robin Williams in the hospital. But yeah, and it's also how they got away with 3 F words for a PG-13 rating, because that's supposed to be enough for an R rating. But yeah, 9 months. I still liked. But anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next movie review. Later.